Hello, good morning. You're watching DD India this Tuesday morning, and we're back once again with a fresh edition of Breakfast Show, a show we get for you every morning, a comprehensive show, in fact, which will kickstart your morning on the big newsy, details. We'll get you everything from the national updates, international updates, sports, business, web news review, health tip, enough to keep you engaged for the next 1 hour. I'm Preeti. With me is Rukma.
A very good morning to you, Preeti, and to all our viewers as well for news that shapes your day. Welcome to the Breakfast Show. I'm Rukma with you, and over the next 1 hour, we'll be taking you through all the top stories, all the that are making headlines across India and the world. As the External Affairs Minister visits Israel, he has very crucial meetings there in the virtual as well as in-person format. Also back home, rains causing havoc in many parts. Weather vagaries from Himachal Pradesh as well. Plus we have for you news from sports, business across the world and much more. But first, the headlines.
External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, along with his Israeli counterpart, holds virtual meeting with foreign ministers of USA and UAE through video conferencing, working together closely on economic growth and global issues discussed.
In Uttarakhand, light to moderate rain continues in most parts of the state. Schools have been closed as a precautionary measure. In some districts, NDRF on standby mode. Madhya Pradesh also receiving moderate to heavy rains. Meanwhile, flood situation continues to be grim in Kerala. Many of the west-flowing rivers are still flowing above the danger mark.
India's cumulative vaccination coverage crosses 98 crore landmark. More than 79 lakh vaccine doses administered yesterday till 7 p.m. Meanwhile, Sanjivani, India's leading telemedicine service, has clocked 1.4 crore consultations. This initiative has over the time gained immense popularity in being able to deliver healthcare services through digital platforms.
Niti Aayog launches Geospatial Energy Map of India. The map attempts to identify and locate all primary and secondary sources of energy and their transportation or transmission networks to provide a comprehensive view of energy production and distribution.
In Nigeria, gunmen kill at least 43 people in an attack in a village market in the northern state of Sokoto. Police confirms that bandits attacked Goronyo. Nigerian troops conducting air and ground operations against bandit camps in the area.
In ICC Men's T20 World Cup 2021 warm-up games, India beat England by 6 wickets with an over to spare. Pakistan, South Africa and Australia also secure wins in their respective games. In group qualifier games, Sri Lanka and Ireland secure win against Namibia and Netherlands respectively.
Eid Milad Nabi is being celebrated across the country today. There will be no large-scale Milad processions in view of COVID restrictions. President extends greetings to all fellow citizens, says Prophet Muhammad's life is an example of fraternity, compassion and affection. He will always remain a source of inspiration for humanity.
And now let's take a look at the news in detail.
Yes, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar on Monday held a meeting with the foreign ministers of US, UAE and Israel. Dr. S. Jaishankar and his Israeli counterpart Yair Lapid joined the virtual meeting with US Secretary of State Antony Blinken and UAE Foreign Minister Abdullah bin Zayed. The minister termed his first meeting with the foreign ministers as fruitful and said that the ministers discussed working together more closely on economic growth and global issues. Ahead of the virtual meet, the minister also held in-person meeting with Israeli Foreign Minister Yair Lapid. Both the leaders discussed a wide range of regional and global issues and agreed on resuming negotiations on free trade agreement in November. The two leaders also agreed in principle on mutual recognition of COVID vaccination certification. Dr. S. Jaishankar also welcomed Israel as the newest member of International Solar Alliance. Dr. S. Jaishankar unveiled a plaque at the Indian Hospice inside the walls of Jerusalem's Old City. The plaque reads, Indian Hospice established in the 12th century AD, supported by Ministry of External Affairs, Government of India, New Delhi. Sharing pictures on his Twitter handle, the minister said that the Indian Hospice, renovated with support of Indian government, represents another historical connect with Jerusalem. Earlier in the day, Dr. S. Jaishankar unveiled a plaque commemorating the Bhudan grove planted by Sarvodaya workers on 22nd May 1960. The plaque at the Jerusalem forest brings out lesser-known aspects of Indo-Israel relations. The minister said that India-Israel relations have many facets and many contributors. The External Affairs Minister also visited Kadavum Synagogue at the Israel Museum. The minister shared pictures of his meeting the younger members of Kochini Jewish community there.
A visually impaired Indian Jewish girl welcomed the External Affairs Minister at the Shalva National Center in Israel, singing a song from a Bollywood movie. The gesture left Dr. Jaishankar and his delegation emotional.
And back home, we now get an update from Uttarakhand. At least 3 people died and 2 others were injured with incessant rains lashing the Himalayan state for the second consecutive day on Monday. The Char Dham Yatra has been halted due to rain in many parts of the state. In view of the weather warning, the authorities have advised Char Dham pilgrims not to proceed to the temples till the weather improves. Badrinath and Dharchula in Kumaon division witnessed the season's first snowfall. Meanwhile, schools have been closed as a precautionary measure in view of heavy rains in some districts. NDRF has also reached Haridwar and has been kept on standby mode. Meanwhile, Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami held a meeting with all district administrations from Dehradun to take stock of the situation related to weather warnings. Union Home Minister Amit Shah also spoke to Chief Minister over phone and took stock of the preparations being made by the state government. IMD has predicted heavy rainfall in Uttarakhand and West Uttar Pradesh in the coming few days.
And many parts of Madhya Pradesh are also receiving moderate to heavy rains. The Met Department has issued a yellow alert for heavy rains in various parts of MP today. The department has forecast that moderate to heavy rains with thunderstorms will continue for 2 to 3 days in many districts. Meanwhile, several parts including the capital Bhopal and Indore, have been receiving intermittent rains since yesterday, making the weather pleasant.
And an update on rain fury from Kerala. The state government has taken all necessary precautions before the opening of all the 10 dams, which were put on red alert yesterday as the water level of the dams was rising. Idamalayar and Pampa dams opened this morning to keep the water level below 90%. High alert has already been issued to the people to stay away from coastal zones and not to engage in fishing or any other activities in water bodies. The shutters of Idukki Dam will be raised at 11 a.m. today. The State Electricity Board has already alerted people in this regard. Also, a warning has been issued to people residing close to River Periyar as the shutters of Kalki Dam were opened. The pilgrimage to Lord Ayyappa Temple in Sabrimala has been put on hold for the time being. Also, red alert has been issued for 10 dams located in Idukki, Pathanamthitta and Thrissur districts. In the meanwhile, the State Minister for Fisheries, Saji Cheran, has called for high alert in Kutanad as the shutters of Kaki Dam were raised yesterday night. People at Kutanad and Chenganur areas were evacuated to safer zones. The search operations in the landslide spots of Kottayam and Idukki districts were stopped yesterday evening as all the bodies of the victims have been recovered from the debris. The death toll in the rain-related incidents in the state remains 26.
And the IMD meanwhile has said that a fresh spell of easterly waves is likely to affect South Peninsular India from the 20th of October and cause fairly widespread rainfall with isolated heavy rains over Kerala from October 20th to 22nd. A yellow alert has been issued for large parts of the state from October 20th to 22nd. Meanwhile, opening of colleges has also been postponed to the 25th of this month. Kerala PSC exams to be held on the 21st and 23rd of this month were postponed on account of heavy downpours. Meanwhile, A. Alexander, District Collector of Alapura, took stock of the flood situation and interacted with people living in the flood-affected areas.
All right, Joseph Martin is joining us from Thiruvananthapuram to get us more. Joseph, how has the day begun there today? We tell our viewers that relief and rescue operations are continuing in Kerala.
Preeti, let me tell you, I am reporting this from Kochi, which is in the central district of Kerala. Now, let me come to the death toll. It is at 26. Now, the search operations are all stopped. The deaths due to landslide remains at 22, and due to floodwaters remains at 4. Now 240 relief camps are functioning, operating in the state, across the state, mainly concentrating on the most affected areas. 2,541 families are there, lodged or housed in these relief camps. Out of that, 9,081 members are there. When you take into the entire account. Now, as far as Idamalayar and Pampa dams are concerned, the shutters are opened at 6 a.m. Pampa, 2 shutters have been opened, each 30 centimeters, and the Idamalayar dam, 4 shutters are opened. Out of that, 2 shutters are lifted for 80 centimeters, allowing water to flow out. Now, it has been since 2018. Last time was lifting the shutters at Idamalayar took place only in the last 2018. After that, it remained closed, and this is a time that it has been opened since. Now, people are advised not to go, all people to move away from the banks of the river and to keep safe distance and go to the higher grounds. And people are evacuated at war footing to the relief camps, which are on a safer level. Now our main focus is on the opening of the dam for today, And today the Idiki Dam will be opened at 11 o'clock. It will be on the opening of the shutters will be on a phased manner. 3 shutters will be opened. The first shutter will be opened at 11 o'clock. Now, prior to that, at 10:55, an alarm siren will be blown to inform the people. And Electricity Minister Krishnan Kutty is there, and Irrigation Minister Roshi Agustin are also there, in case if there is any urgent responsive decisions or actions to be taken at their level. They are there at the site, and with electricity officials, higher officials of the electricity department are there. Now, Periyar is the largest river in Kerala, and it has the potential of carrying more water, the potential of carrying more water to the Arabian Sea. I would tell you that at 11 o'clock, the 3 shutters will be open. Each shutter will be open for 35 centimeters. First the shutter, second shutter will be opened after blowing the siren at 11 o'clock. And they will monitor the discharge flow of volume of water, and then the rise in the level of water in the river. Then they will decide upon, after 5 minutes, they will decide to open the second shutter, which is the number 3 shutter. After which the same procedure will take place, and after that for the 4th shutter, all shutters will be lifted to 35 centimeters, allowing water to discharge. According to the minister, he told us that 100 cubic feet of water, that is about 1 lakh, equivalent to 1 lakh liters of water would be discharged per second into the river. This is the amount or volume of water which is expected to flow immediately into the Periyar river. The volume of the water can be felt, or if there is any change of the level in the water, can be sensed only after a couple of hours, because it has to flow from Idiki to the Arabian Sea throughout.
Right.
So naturally, it will take some time for people to assess the level or the impact of the water flow.
Right. And when we talk about the damage that has taken place so far, that has occurred so far, has there been any assessment? We believe that local officials, district officials are taking stock of the situation at regular intervals.
So let me tell you about the electricity part of it. About 5 lakh connections are disrupted in the state, 5 lakhs. Out of that, they have restored 4.5 lakhs of domestic consumer electric connections. And they need at least a week's time to repair and to manage things out. Posts are broken and lines are cut off due to the falling branches of falling trees and other factors. So they need some time to restore. Immediately, they cannot, even if the situation is favorable, they have to assess whether it is safe to give electric connections to these part of the area, because there could be any short circuit and things like that. So they have to take all that into account. Now, the army and the NDRF and the disaster management and the police force, everyone are taking care of the situation. They are on standby mode. If in case if anything is to be done, they will be at the place at short notice. This is the situation. It has been arranged. All the exams are postponed for now. Examinations are not going to take place. The colleges are closed. Post-COVID, they were supposed to open on 20th, but it has been postponed to 25th
Right.
and after.
All right.
And I would also like to add one more thing, that now there is a fresh warning from the IMD that there could be more rain in the coming days, more heavy rain possibly, and taking into account all these factors, that these are the factors which lead to opening of the dams. Most of the districts in Kerala, except 1 or 2 districts, all the other districts remain under yellow alert.
All right, thank you so much, Joseph, for joining us, and you've given us extensive information with regard to the current situation in Kerala. We'll come back to you again during the day to get more. The IMD has predicted that rains will continue in Kerala, and we'll have to see how the days ahead pan out. As of now, the death toll due to rains in the state remains 26.
And it's rainfall also in Himachal Pradesh. And a link road was blocked in the state's Kinnaur district due to flash floods triggered by heavy rains yesterday. According to information received from Kinnaur district, the link road from National Highway 5 to Murang has been blocked due to flash floods at Khokpa Nala in Murang Tehsil. Earlier on Monday, Lahaul Spiti district and upper reaches of Badrinath in Uttarakhand received snowfall. The IMD also reported that the mercury has dropped in the district, especially in Pipalkoti, Ghat Pokhri areas, including district headquarter Gopeshwar. Areas at higher altitudes have received snow as well.
All right, Nandini Mittal is joining us from Shimla on phone line. Nandini, we've given a broad, idea of the current situation in the state. You spell out more details. How is the weather there? We tell our viewers that snowfall is already being witnessed at different areas in Himachal Pradesh. You get us more details.
Presently, the weather is clear throughout Himachal Pradesh, but yesterday, fresh snowfall has crippled the normal life in tribal areas of Lahaul Spiti and Kinnaur. Because of this, Manali-Leh highway has been disrupted. Traffic on this road has been disrupted. Around 150 tourists are stranded at Samdo, though they are safe and taken to transit camp. But one tourist has died. Though the situation is now in control, but the government is trying to evacuate the 150 tourists who are stranded in Lahaul Spiti district. Meanwhile, the region is covered with snow, and the tourists going there are being delighted by the scenic view.
Right, tourists delighted by the scenic beauty, but what about normal life? Has it been disrupted in any way? What about schools and colleges? Has there been any alerts sounded? Give us more information.
Though the normal life, as I told you, has been disrupted, but it is quite natural during the winters. This kind of incidents do happen when it snows. There is heavy snowfall reported from these areas, so the schools are already closed in these areas because of winters and due to festive season. But the life is which is like normal in these areas. Whenever there is snow, the life gets disrupted. But when snow stops, then life gets back to its normal pace. Now, as I told you, the weather is clear in these areas. The government will try to bring back the normal life on track, and the tourists who are stranded in these areas will be evacuated.
All right, Nandini, thank you so much for joining us with those inputs. So that was our correspondent Nandini Mittal telling us more about the current situation in Himachal Pradesh. Snowfall is witnessed in different parts of the state, and it has somewhat had a bearing on the normal life there, but it is also providing a visual treat to the tourists there. We'll keep you updated. Up next, let's head for a short commercial break. You're watching Breakfast Show. Stay with us. We'll be back in a short while.
With the world's largest COVID vaccination drive, India is leading the way. As the vaccine reaches every corner of the nation, do not forget the mantra, Dawai bhi, Kadai bhi. Let's continue our fight against COVID-19. Vaccination along with social distancing, sanitization and masks.
Mask up! India.
Put your mask on and cover your nose and be safe.
Mask Up India.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching Breakfast News.
And now let's get you a quick update on the nationwide vaccination drive. India's COVID vaccination coverage has crossed the 98 crore landmark. Over 98.6 crore vaccine doses have been administered across the country so far. According to the Union Health Ministry, over 79.74 crore vaccine doses have been administered till Monday 7 p.m.
Sanjivani, India's leading telemedicine service under the Union Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, clocked 1.4 crore consultations. Operating in two variants, that is Sanjivani ABHWC and Sanjivani OPD, this initiative has over time gained immense popularity in being able to deliver healthcare services through digital platforms. Sanjivani ABHWC, a doctor-to-doctor teleconsultation system launched with an intent to alleviate the urban-rural divide in terms of health services, works on hub and spoke model. Sanjivani OPD, launched on April 13, 2021, aims to provide safe doctor-to-patient consultations, and the Sanjivani OPD is available as a mobile app for both iOS and Android smartphones. Sanjivani as a whole is addressing the shortage of doctors and specialists at the ground level, while also reducing the burden on secondary and tertiary level hospitals. In line with the newly launched Ayushman Bharat Digital Health Mission, this digital initiative aims to constantly improve the digital health infrastructure of the country.
And all schools in Assam will reopen from today for classes 1st to 8th and also class 11th. Keeping in view the lurking dangers of COVID-19, schools have been ordered to ensure that special precautionary measures are being followed by them. Additionally, the classes will also be held in accordance with COVID-19 protocols issued by the government. A fresh SOP has been issued by the state government for reopening of the schools. Now, the SOP also mentions that the classes are to be held only for 3 days in a week for classes 1st to 8th. The order also mentioned that the school must not accommodate more than 30 students in a single section. The school authorities can, however, add more sections if needed. Further, the school is not allowed to organize any cultural functions, meetings or events until further orders. Apart from physical classes, the schools can continue providing virtual options and online classes as well.
Niti Aayog on Monday launched a geospatial energy map of India. The map attempts to identify and locate all primary and secondary sources of energy and their transportation networks to provide a comprehensive view of energy production and distribution. Niti Aayog, in collaboration with the Indian Space Research Organization, has developed the comprehensive geographic information system energy map with the support of Energy Ministries of India. The GIS map provides a holistic picture of all energy resources of the country, which enables visualization of energy installations such as conventional power plants, oil and gas wells, petroleum refineries, coal fields and coal blocks, district-wise data on renewable energy power plants and renewable energy resource potential.
UIDAI will host Aadhaar Hackathon 2021 from 28th till 31st of October. This hackathon is targeted at young innovators who are still at various engineering institutes and are eager to step into the real world. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has given a clarion call to celebrate the 75th year of independence of India as Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. To celebrate this momentous occasion, UIDAI is hosting the hackathon, which is themed around two topics. The first theme is around enrollment and update, which essentially covers some of the real-life challenges being faced by residents while updating their address. The second theme of the hackathon is around identity and authentication solution offered by UIDAI. Under this, it is soliciting innovative solutions to prove identity without sharing the Aadhaar number or demographics information. Also, it is looking for innovative applications around face authentication, that is API, the newly launched authentication modality of the UIDAI. The objective is to popularize some of the existing and new APIs to solve the needs of the residents.
And in today's episode of Saga of Freedom, we tell you about V. Ramalingam Pillai, popularly known as Namakkal Kavinar. Ramalingam Pillai enlightened the youth of Tamil Nadu through his novels and songs. We also pay tribute to Nirmala Deshpande, known to be the spirit behind the peace marches in Punjab and Kashmir, when violence was at its peak in those states.
On 19th of October 1888, V. Ramalingam Pillai, popularly known as Namakkal Kavinyar, was born at Mohanur in Namakkal district in Tamil Nadu to Venkataraman and Ammani Ammal. His father worked in police department. He did his BA in 1909 from Bishop Heber College at Tiruchi. Initially, he worked as a clerk at Namakkal Tahsildar's office and later worked as a primary school teacher.
He wrote hundreds of poems with patriotic fervour. He also participated in the salt satyagraha against the British government in 1930 and went to jail for 1 year. His novels and songs enlightened the youth of Tamil Nadu about the freedom movement and Gandhian ways of fighting with the enemy.
Ramalingam Pillai, who was fondly called as nationalist poet, wrote, "Without sword and without blood, a war is being waged. Those who believe in the immortality of truth can join without hesitation."
காந்தி என்ற சாந்தமூர்த்தி தேர்ந்து காட்டும் செந்நெறி மாந்தருக்குள் தீமை குன்ற வாய்ந்த தெய்வ மார்க்கமே.
His novel Malaikallan was made into a Tamil film post-independence and became a super hit film and won President's Medal for Best Film.
கத்தியின்றி ரத்தமின்றி யுத்தம் ஒன்று வருகுது சத்தியத்தின் நித்தியத்தை நம்பும் யாரும் சேருவே.
This film was later remade in Hindi as Azad. His poems on the pride of being an Indian and Tamil, and his verses on Khadi are being quoted even today in Tamil Nadu. He received the Padma Bhushan Award in 1971. Nirmala Deshpande was born to Vimala and Purushottam Yashwant Deshpande in Nagpur on the 19th of October 1929. Her father was the recipient of the Sahitya Akademi Award in 1962 for his work in Marathi Anamikachi Chintanika.
She did MA in Political Science from Nagpur. She also studied at Ferguson College, Pune. Thereafter, she served as lecturer in Political Science in Morris College, Nagpur.
Deshpande joined Vinoba Bhave's Bhudan movement in 1952. She undertook a 40,000-kilometer Padyatra across India to carry Gandhi's message of Gram Swaraj. She recognized that it was difficult to practice Gandhian principles, yet believed that doing so was the only way towards a truly democratic society.
Deshpande was known to be the spirit behind peace marches in Punjab and Kashmir when violence was at its peak in those states. She served as the president of a historical organization, Harijan Sevak Sangh, from June 1983 till her death. She was associated with many social organizations and bodies. She founded Akhil Bharat Rachnatmak Samaj that won the National Communal Harmony Award in 2004.
Nirmala Deshpande was a nominated member of the Rajya Sabha twice. Deshpande received the Rajiv Gandhi National Sadbhavna Award in 2005 and the Padma Vibhushan in 2006.
And up next, we get you all the updates from the international world in our segment Across the Globe.
In Nigeria, gunmen killed at least 43 people in an attack on a village market in the northern state of Sokoto. Sokoto Governor Aminu Waziri Tambuwal said the assault began at a weekly market in Goronyo on Sunday and continued into the next day. Police confirmed that bandits attacked Goronyo. Meanwhile, an official has said the African country's security forces have killed 10 armed bandits in a recent operation against the hideouts of bandits in the northwest state of Kaduna. Phone networks in the area have been suspended for weeks to disrupt the gang's operations, making information gathering difficult. Since last month, Nigerian troops have been conducting air and ground operations against bandit camps in neighboring Zamfara state.
US President Joe Biden ordered flags at the White House and other federal buildings lowered to half-staff on Monday in tribute to former Joint Chiefs Chairman and Secretary of State Colin Powell, who died at the age of 84. The flags will remain lowered until sunset on October 22nd. Powell, the first black US Secretary of State, a top military officer and a national security advisor, died on Monday due to complications from COVID. He was fully vaccinated. He was a prominent figure for decades. He served 3 Republican presidents in senior posts and ascended to leadership of the US military. In 2008, he broke with his party to endorse Democrat Barack Obama. Powell endorsed Democrats Hillary Clinton in the 2016 presidential election and Joe Biden last year against Donald Trump. He was the top US military officer when American-led forces drove Iraqi troops from Kuwait in 1991 and the chief US diplomat in 2003 when Washington relied on erroneous intelligence about Iraqi weapons of mass destruction to justify its invasion of Iraq.
And Iran has backed talks with 6 major powers that are result-oriented. Iranian hardline President Ibrahim Raisi said yesterday as Tehran and 6 powers struggled to overcome snags hampering the resumption of negotiations to revive a 2015 nuclear deal. In April, Iran and 6 powers started talks to reinstate the deal that then US President Donald Trump had ditched 3 years ago and reimpose sanctions that have squeezed Iran's oil exports. But the talks were put on hold after Raisi's elections in June. Western powers have urged Iran to return to negotiations, warning that time is running out as Tehran's nuclear program is advancing well beyond limits of the nuclear pact. In response to Trump's reimposition of sanctions, Tehran has breached the deal by rebuilding stockpiles.
The launch came as Seoul opens a major spy chiefs meet to discuss the nuclear standoff, and South Korea prepares for a space launch. The North Korean launch would be the latest weapons test by the country, which has pressed ahead with military development in the face of international sanctions imposed over its nuclear weapons and missile programs. Now, according to South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff, 1 ballistic missile was launched at about 10:17 a.m. local time from the vicinity of Sinpo, where North Korea keeps submarines as well as equipment for test firing submarine-launched ballistic missiles. North Korea has also launched other types of missiles from that area. The chief also has stated that South Korea's military is closely monitoring the situation and maintaining readiness posture in close cooperation with the United States to prepare for possible additional launches. Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida has said that 2 ballistic missiles had been detected and it was regrettable that North Korea had conducted a string of missile tests in recent weeks. The launch came as the intelligence chiefs of South Korea, US and Japan were to meet in Seoul to discuss the standoff with North Korea amidst other issues. South Korea is also preparing to test fire its first homegrown space launch vehicle on Thursday.
In limbo in southern Mexico, migrants are reportedly considering a new caravan of people heading out on foot towards the Mexican border with the United States. Authorities in Mexico have sought to keep these migrants in Tapachula, in Mexico's southern state of Chiapas near Guatemala. But tensions are boiling over. Hundreds of migrants are registering with the Mexican Commission for Refugee Assistance and Mexico's immigration institution, hoping they will get documentation to regulate their status in Mexico. According to local reports, some 90,000 migrants are in the Tapachula city of Mexico.
The top US envoy to Afghanistan, Zalmay Khalilzad, has stepped down from his role of US chief interlocutor for Afghanistan. He led the US dialogue with the Taliban, but months of diplomatic talks failed to prevent the militant group from seizing power. In a letter to Secretary of State Antony Blinken, Khalilzad defended his record but acknowledged that he came up short and said that he wanted to make way during the new phase of our Afghanistan policy. His letter further stated that the political arrangement between the Afghan government and the Taliban did not go forward as envisaged, though he did not share much, saying that the reasons for this are too complex and that he will share his thoughts in the coming days and weeks. Meanwhile, US Secretary of State Antony Blinken has stated that Khalilzad's deputy, Thomas West, would take over.
The United States will not join international talks on Afghanistan organized by Russia on the 20th of October. The US State Department has blamed logistical issues but said it considered the Russian-led forum constructive. State Department spokesperson Ned Price said that the US will not participate in the Moscow talks. He added that the Troika Plus has been an effective and constructive forum. The US has been encouraging nations not to recognize the Taliban government, hoping for leverage in key issues of concern, including the rights of women and girls. Russian envoy Zamir Kabulov on Friday announced the four-nation talks in Moscow, saying they would aim to work out a common position on the changing situation in Afghanistan. This will be the first Moscow format dialogue since the takeover of Afghanistan by the Taliban in August. India has also received an invitation for the Moscow format meeting on Afghanistan and will participate in the deliberations.
A Russia-led post-Soviet security bloc started its largest military drills near Tajik-Afghan border in years on Monday amidst cross-border tensions ahead of talks between Afghanistan's new Taliban leaders and major regional powers. Unlike Afghanistan's other northern neighbors, Tajikistan has refused to recognize the Islamist Taliban movement, and there are reports of troop buildups on both sides of the border. The exercise carried out by the Collective Security Treaty Organization will involve over 5,000 servicemen, more than half of the Russian soldiers, Russia and Tajikistan's defense ministries also. The 6-day drills follow a series of small-scale exercises held in the vicinity of the Afghan border by Russia and the Central Asian allies in August and September. A high-level Taliban delegation is set to visit Moscow this week for talks.
And with the impact of climate change becoming more and more evident by the day, incidents of volcano eruptions, extreme rainfall have become common. Red-hot lava gushed from the Cumbre Vieja volcano in Spain's La Palma island, a day after the president of the Canary Islands said there is no immediate end in sight to the volcanic eruption that has caused chaos since it began a month ago. Streams of lava have laid waste to more than 742 hectares of land and destroyed nearly 2,000 buildings on the island since the volcano started erupting on September 19th. Nearly 7,000 people have been evacuated from their homes on the island, which has about 83,000 inhabitants and forms part of the Canary Islands archipelago of northwestern Africa. Authorities and experts say they cannot predict when the volcano will stop its activity.
In Peru, heavy rains lashed northern parts of the country, causing rivers to overflow and highways to flood. Rain battered the northern town of Los Banos del Inca at Cajamarca province, flooding streets and cutting off traffic in areas where neither vehicles nor mass transit could get through. Authorities say that the torrential rains left dozens of houses flooded and at least 5 at risk of collapse. Residents demanded the authorities clean the riverbeds and drain to avoid new floods. The rainy season has just begun in Peru, which usually extends through April.
And let's now bring you updates on COVID-19 from across the world. More than 24 crore 18 lakh people have been infected by coronavirus so far, while over 21 crore 92 lakh have recovered from the virus. The number of those who have lost their lives to the virus account to over 49 lakh 20,000 worldwide. The United States continues to be the worst affected by the COVID pandemic. Over 4 crore 58 lakh people in the US have so far been infected by COVID, while more than 7 lakh 45,000 people have died in the US due to the virus.
Meanwhile, United States reported over 45,000 new cases on Monday. The country has been witnessing a spike over the past few days due to the Delta variant of the COVID-19 virus. The deadly virus has claimed lives of 599 people yesterday. The new infection has increased the total number of cases in the US to over 4 crore 58 lakh 95,000.
Singapore is scheduled to reopen its border to vaccinated visitors from around 10 countries from today onwards. The city-state initially fought the pandemic by shutting borders, lockdowns of varying intensity and aggressive contact tracing, but with more than 80% of the population fully vaccinated, authorities in the global aviation hub are keen to revive the economy. They have opened travel lanes for vaccinated passengers from Brunei and Germany in September and will expand the scheme to another 8 countries today. The lane with South Korea will start on November 15th. Under the policy, passengers will not have to quarantine if they have been fully vaccinated and have tested negative for coronavirus before they departed and on arrival.
And up next, we get to Sports Track. India has defeated England by 7 wickets in its first warm-up match of ICC T20 World Cup at the ICC Cricket Academy ground in Dubai on Monday. England's Johnny Bairstow smashed a 36 ball 49 to help England post a challenging 188 for 5. Moeen Ali's whirlwind 20 ball 43, which powered England to a good score in the end, and India's Mohammad Shami snapped 3 wickets. Later, India's Ishan Kishan opened the innings in Rohit's absence and also after getting dropped twice, sent the English bowlers to a leather hunt during his 46 ball 70. India will play its second and last practice match on October 20th.
And Sri Lanka defeated Namibia by 7 wickets in their Group A Round 1 match of the ongoing T20 World Cup at the Sheikh Zayed Stadium in Abu Dhabi on Monday. Chasing a target of 97 runs, Sri Lanka posted 100 for 3 in 13.3 overs. Bhanuka Rajapaksa was the side's top scorer and was unbeaten after playing a knock of 42 in 27 balls. Meanwhile, Avishka Fernando was also unbeaten after smashing 30 of 28 deliveries. Earlier, Namibia were bowled out for 96 in 19.3 overs, with Craig Williams hitting 29 in 36 balls. Mahesh Theekshana was in top form, taking 3 wickets for Sri Lanka.
And Ireland defeated Netherlands by 7 wickets in their first round Group B match of the T20 World Cup. Ireland first dismissed Netherlands for 106 in exactly 20 overs, with Curtis Campher and Mark Adair sharing 7 wickets. Opener Max Odode top scored with a 47 ball 51 for Netherlands after skipper Peter Seelaar opted to bat. Also, Campher incidentally took Ireland's first hat-trick in T20 internationals. Chasing the total, Ireland romped home in 15.1 overs, with Gareth Delaney hitting 44 of 29 balls and Paul Stirling scoring an unbeaten 30 of 39 balls.
And the festival season continues with the celebration of Eid Milad un-Nabi today, commemorating the birthday of Prophet Muhammad, celebrated with religious fervor across the country. The Prophet's birthday falls on the 12th day of the Islamic month of Rabiul Awwal. President Ramnath Kovind, Vice President Venkaiah Naidu and Prime Minister Narendra Modi have extended greetings and good wishes on the occasion. In his message, President Kovind said Prophet Muhammad's life is an example of fraternity, compassion and affection. He will always remain a source of inspiration for humanity. Let us take inspiration from his life and ideals and work for the prosperity of society and promotion of peace and harmony in the country. In his greetings, Vice President Venkaiah Naidu said the Holy Prophet showed humanity the righteous path of compassion, tolerance and universal brotherhood. May his eternal message continue to guide us in building a just, humane and harmonious society. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also extended greetings on Milad-un-Nabi. In his tweet, he said, I quote, "Let there be peace and prosperity all around. May the virtues of kindness and brotherhood always prevail. Eid Mubarak." Mumbai Police has issued an order prohibiting all processions on Eid Milad except one procession in Mumbai City District and another in Mumbai Suburban District in view of the COVID pandemic. In most places, there will be no large-scale Milad procession in view of COVID-19 restrictions. However, Milad Mehfils and Sirat Majlis will be held while adhering to COVID norms and guidelines.
All right, up next we take a look at weather forecast. As per the IMD's forecast, a low pressure area lies over central parts of Madhya Pradesh and a western disturbance lies over northern parts of Pakistan and adjoining Afghanistan. And due to this, fairly widespread to widespread light to moderate rainfall at isolated places is likely over Uttarakhand and Uttar Pradesh and also over West Madhya Pradesh, Himachal Pradesh, Haryana, Chandigarh, Northeast Rajasthan, East Madhya Pradesh and also over West Uttar Pradesh. Added to this, a low pressure area lies over Gangetic West Bengal and adjoining Jharkhand, and due to this, heavy falls are expected over Odisha and Jharkhand, West Bengal, Sikkim and Bihar, and also a fresh spell of easterly wave is likely to affect South Peninsular India, and because of this, heavy falls are likely over Kerala and Mahe, Tamil Nadu, Puducherry and Karaikal. Added to this, moderate to severe thunderstorms are expected over Uttarakhand, Haryana, Chandigarh and Delhi, West Uttar Pradesh, Northeast Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand, West Bengal and Sikkim and Odisha. And now, temperatures across major cities of the country. All right, that's it in this edition of Breakfast News this morning. But before we go, we leave you with this reminder every day. Make sure you keep up with the fight against the pandemic. Wear a mask, wear it correctly and properly. And also make sure you follow the COVID appropriate behavior. And all those eligible, please go and get yourself vaccinated. And that will further give more momentum to the fight against the pandemic. It's already the festive season. And make sure that you do not let your guards down.
Very well said, Preeti, and very important message there. The fight against COVID continues. It's time for us to go as well, as Breakfast News for today comes to an end. We leave you with these visuals of an astounding amalgamation of modern art and new technology, seen as the Prague city centre was illuminated by a light and laser show. Colourful and intense was how spectators described the show. We leave you with these amazing visuals. That's all from now from both of us. Namaskar. Bye-bye.